Alright people, I'm back with another video to show you guys different things that involve masonry, the occult, and everything that's been going on that's been hidden in America since the beginning of America. And with saying that, I have this picture of this man right here, Anthony C. Sutton. He's educated at the University of London, Göttingen in California, former research fellow at the Hoover Institution, Stanford University, as well as economics professor at California State University, Los Angeles. Anthony C. Sutton wrote this book called America's Secret Establishment, an introduction to the order of that group right there. By the way, I have this book, read majority of the book, didn't really pick it back up, but I might end up just finishing it. All right, in this book, America's Secret Establishment, on page 115, this is what he talks about: how the order creates war and revolution. This is what it says: the operational history of the order can only be understood within the framework of the Hegelian dialectic process. Quite simply, this is the notion that conflict creates history. Now, by the way, if you don't know what the Hegelian dialectic is, this man named Hegel, whatever his last name was, and this guy named Finch or something like that. But these two dudes, specifically Hegel, were Freemasons, and they were part of the Illuminati group that Adam Weishaupt has started. And Hegel came out with this system called the Hegelian dialectic process, where you create a thesis and an antithesis, and you rub those two systems up together until you create your synthesis. Now, to explain that in a more simpler term, basically, in America, we have our left hand and we have our right hand. And we can either vote for our left hand or we can vote for our right hand, depending on your preference and everything that goes along with that. But the thing is, though, you never created the left hand or the right hand. And then also, you're not funding the left hand or the right hand. Your taxes does not go to the left hand or to the right hand. Someone else has to fund that campaign and represent that person, because where are all the funds going to come from? Who's going to put all that money towards, this and that? But then also, you got to think, if this person is not funding your corporation, your campaign, you have to meet the necessary needs within that negotiation that person laid out. And you have to ask yourself, what is that person going to negotiate? What is their plans? What is their agenda, And that's what I tell people. Wars have to be funded. Wars have to be paid for. Who is paying for all of these wars? Because the president don't got all that money. He has some power, but he doesn't really have any money like that to be spending on wars. So where is this money coming from? Oh, okay, well, America has this thing called the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, people, is not a government-owned business. This is something that is excluded from the government and everything of that sort. So this is a private-owned company that loans to America. That's how we've been getting our money for wars, for all these different inflations and stuff like that, and them giving out all this money and stuff. It comes from the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve is ran by a few families that pretty much own a lot of the money in the world. But the point I'm getting at, people, is wherever you go, if it's not a fascist state where one person is in charge and nobody else is in charge, like places like China and Russia, then you're going to have a left hand and you're going to have a right hand. You're going to have somebody that's a Republican, Democrat, whatever the situation may be. And you always see these systems being rubbed up as we speak of today. We see many different protests, riots. Hey, somebody that wasn't a Republican just shot at Trump. So clearly it shows the systems being rubbed up. When you see stuff like that going on, you're seeing the Hegelian dialectic process being implemented. This is what it also says. From this axiom, it follows that controlled conflict can create a predetermined history. Peep that. Controlled conflict. You're controlling the outcome. You're controlling the narrative. Not just that, you're controlling the catastrophe that happens as well. Now it says this, for example, when the Trilateral Commission discusses managed conflict, peep that word, manage. We're managing the conflict. As it does extensively in its literature, the Commission implies the managed use of conflict for long-run predetermined ends, not for the mere random exercise of manipulative control to solve a problem. He also says on page 115, the synthesis sought by the establishment is called You see it right there, people. Without controlled conflict, this would not come about. Random individual actions of persons in society would not lead to this synthesis. It's artificial, therefore it has to be created. Now, people, remember what I just told you guys. This is happening because people are rubbing systems together. Like this isn't just happening naturally. It's happening because someone is planning this out and they're really trying to make this plan their reality, our reality, which is obviously this right here. And this being done with the calculated, managed use of conflict. All the while this synthesis is being sought, there's no profit in playing the involved parties against one another. This explains why the international bankers backed the Nazis, the Soviet Union, North Korea, North Vietnam, and Nausium, if I'm saying it correctly, against the United States. The conflict built profits while pushing the world ever close to a one world. The process continues today, people, and we still see it today. I can show you multiple interviews where people are talking about, let's come together to start a... Here goes some more information about the Hegelian dialectic. In Hegelian philosophy, the conflict of political right and political left, or thesis and antithesis in Hegelian terms, is essential to the forward movement of history and historical change itself. Conflict between thesis and antithesis brings about a synthesis, i.e., a new historical situation. Now, this is where President Woodrow Wilson made the revealing statement. Some of the biggest men in the U.S. in the fields of commerce and manufacturing know that there is a power so organized, so subtle, so complete, so perversive, that they had better not speak above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it. Karl Marx in Das Kapital posed capitalism as thesis and communism as antithesis. By the way, capitalism is what we have in America. Most people complain about it. It's way better than that one up there. You'd rather have capitalism than you'd rather have this right here. They both have their situations, but you'll be far more worse off in this situation. Here's another one for you guys. The clash of opposites must, in Hegelian system, bring about a society neither capitalist nor communist. Moreover, in the Hegelian scheme of events, this new synthesis will reflect the concept of the state as God and the individual as totally subordinate to an all-powerful state. What then is the function of a parliament or a congress for Hegelians? These institutions are merely to allow individuals to feel that their opinions have some value and to allow government to take advantage of whatever wisdom the peasant may accidentally demonstrate. Okay, people, that was very, very revealing. As you can see from Anthony C's sudden mindset and many other people that share the same mindset as well. All this political left, political right nonsense don't really mean nothing. All these other systems that's supposed to make you feel that you have some type of authority over the government, it's just there to make you feel that way. You really don't have any power over these people. The only type of power you have is in Jesus Christ. That's the only power. It's not in you. It's not in Bob. It's not in Dylan. You can't find Peter Parker, T'Challa. None of these people are going to come and save you. Only Jesus. As Hegel puts it, by virtue of this participation, subjective liberty and conceit with the general opinion, individuals can show themselves probably affectious and enjoy the satisfaction of feeling themselves to count for something. Peep the last part. You guys are going to feel like you count for something. That's how that man felt. Last one for you. War, the organized conflict of nations for Hegelians, is only the visible outcome of the clash between ideas. As John Dewey, the Hegelian darling of the modern educational system, puts it, war is the most effective preacher of the vanity of all merely finite interests. It puts an end to the selfish egoism of the individual by which he would claim his life and his property as his own or as his family's.